PlayStation dropped a new God of War trailer that you see right now, talking about the new enemy called the Draugr, a zombie type enemy that we already saw a lot of in the previous trailers. The first fight, for example, in the E3 2016 reveal trailer was against a Draugr, but now we learned more thanks to that trailer and also a new episode of the God of War podcast. And that podcast also includes some other interesting info that I want to tell you in this video, so if you like that, hit that like button and of course let me know what you think in the comments down below. So you can compare the Draugrs with zombies because they first were humans. The podcast in particular is about a man that was killed by bandits along with his family. He then finds himself fighting against a Valkyrie. So he was already dead, then fighting against a Valkyrie, and then he burns alive, I guess, and then he becomes a Draugr. And we already see those touches like in the gameplay as well. When Kratos is fighting him, ripping him apart, we kind of see that they're burning from the inside or something like that. A really cool touch. These creatures are pure rage, if you're wondering. Then later in the podcast, Ravel, the character designer and animator Bruno, join to talk more about the game and give some interesting details as well. So, of course, God of War is this time set in the Norse mythology, not the Greek one. And the developers were really happy with this because they could now make a ton of different enemies that did not appear in the Greek mythology. Enemies like trolls, ogres and dragons, of course, that we also see at the end of the E3 2016 trailer. And I'm personally a huge fan of dragons, so I can't wait to fight them. While in the previous God of War games it felt like everyone was attacking Kratos, was after him, in this new game it feels like you participate in a world that is alive, so you happen to encounter them. They're just in your way. For example, the troll under the bridge in the E3 2016 gameplay reveal was just, you just happened to come across the troll under the bridge, and he was hungry and he did not like that you were crossing his bridge. All the characters in the game should have more background, just feel more alive, and also like work really well with the environment. For example, if a creature comes out of the water, it should still be a little bit wet or something like that. Like, it should really feel as if these creatures live in this world. That's really what they're trying to achieve. And while the backgrounds they made for these characters are mostly unique, all the enemies in the game are based on myths from the Norse mythology. They just give their own twist to them, a God of War signature as they like to call it. They also talked about motion capture and that 80% of the animations is done via motion capture and 20% keyframe, and this is another way of making the enemies more realistic, feel more alive, since the moves are captured by real people. So it really should feel that every enemy is like different. Another interesting thing they touched on in the podcast is regarding the relation with the characters and the world, and that they want to make it feel cohesive, but because the game is big and any encounter can happen anywhere, it makes it hard for them to make it feel as if the characters belong to the environment. Of course, they still try to do it and they do their best, but from the looks of it, God of War is going to be a linear type of game, right? Of course, we learned that there will be hidden side quests, so things you can probably do off the beaten path, but I can't wrap my head around the line, the encounters can happen anywhere. I mean, they place them in the world and you go through that world via a linear path as Kratos and of course your kid. So you then encounter them, right? I mean, I can see with an open world game where you can really go wherever you want that this would be the case, but with this God of War game, if you got an idea of what he might mean and what it means for the game, please let me know in the comments down below, of course. If you want to listen to the podcast yourself, you can totally do it. I put a link down in the description down below so you can check it out for yourself. Subscribe to stay up to date on everything God of War. Of course, hopefully we got some new info at the Paris Games Week show on October 30th or the PlayStation Experience. Anyway, when we get more info, I will let you know. Like the video to support the channel. Thanks for watching and I will speak to you next time. Goodbye.